Okay, today is team A, right? Okay. So everyone can present one setup. So let's start with Maya. Do you have anything you're looking at for today?
I'm just doing a little counter trend now on the Aussie dollar.
Okay. All right. So how are you looking at everything we have learned so far?
Okay. Obviously, this was the last guy who tried and he failed. He got trapped there. So
Okay.
we're expecting a area where it can possibly go down.
Okay.
And that's where I did a primary a few minutes ago.
Okay. How do you see the overall volume?
Overall volume at the bottom, so that's good. Volume, yeah, it's also in the beginning. And
Yep.
at the end, the volume is quite high, which means this trend is a bit moch.
Mm-hmm.
And then, yeah, so that's about it. And then we have to go down to the 5 minutes to look for the details of this last leg.
Okay. So volume doesn't really tell us that much. We do have volume at the end of the uptrend. So more or less a 50-50 kind of thing. The other thing you can also say is this high volume here. They all started from the lows. So and the second candle here. So when you do the sell, if we're doing the sell, try not to take it too far because these zones may have high volume acting as a wall. Right?
That's right. And it is also close to the 220 EMA or MA.
Yep.
So I don't want to really take it lower than this because it might just go up again.
Yep. So for the MAs, you want to check it just one time frame higher. So this case, right, we do have a typical trap and kill, that kind of thing. This last guy being killed and here could release or here, right, last attempts. So we know it's in a counter trend because at least here we're in an outflow, right? So to know if the big boys are to know if the higher time frame has enough of a discount to refresh, we have to go one time frame higher. Right? Only when we're in a counter trend.
That's right. So we have to look at the 4 hours where the 20 is.
Yep. So what can you say about what we have learned from yesterday regarding this part?
Yeah. So we don't have much space. That's why I say we can't take it too low because it might bounce off here, either there or there. Okay. So our take profit would be there to play it safe.
To play it safe, yes. So looking at this from the top here, from this guy that went up, coming back down, it's not really starting to refresh, right? Because if there's no slowdown, where should it, if there is no slowdown, just one swing up, continue coming down, where technically should it stop before doing a refresh if there's no slowdown?
Sorry. I think there needs to come one more leg down before it will refresh and then continue up again.
Yeah. Before this piece, let's say if we are from here, just coming down, right? We can only consider that we have enough sellers for them to refresh if it touches the 50. Okay, so you still have a lot of space. Now, if we do this, slow down, all right, range, and if we touch the 20 MA, then it might refresh. So in either case, if you're attempting the sell here, you still have some space to play with. Yeah, at least to here, because there's no slowdown, so at least we have to get down to this zone here before buyers come back.
Okay. Can we also have a look at maybe I just want to show this last attempt of this little piece here? Or is that going to be too low to expect it to come this far?
The thing is, it might come down there. All right. It's just how it's gonna come down there. That's the other question. So let's say you take a sell from the release, and you know that there's still space to play with before it starts to refresh. It might refresh here, it might refresh there, but all we know is when we get down there, we might just invite enough sellers that they might attempt. And then the counter side is if there's no slowdown, it might not stop there, so it might do this, and then from there it might chop around before doing this. So there's a good chance where price will come back down towards this area here. It's just how it gets down there, which could mess with our trade.
Okay, makes sense.
Yeah. So as of right now, the easiest trade, or at least the most higher probability one, is just to take it from there to there before anyone starts to think that there's enough sellers for a refresh.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So on the 60-minute, this is the guy. We have this kind of situation going on. So here. Right. Before going down to the 5, let's move on to the next person and then see if we have other pairs that might be similar, and then we'll put it on the correlating charts. All right. So Jay, you looking at anything?
Yeah, I'm looking for a buy on Euro Aussie.
Okay, before that, anyone have any question for Aussie USD on the 60? No. All right. Euro Aussie. Yep, this one here, remember Laila was talking about this right yesterday, and it sort of did exactly what we've discussed. Price was around here in the New York session, and then it started to move up, and then volume starts to pick up at the bottom. All right. Anyway, yep, Jay, take it away with this one.
All right, so these overall buyers, they refreshed. Temporary sellers came in. They made their way up to their release area, and then the buyers just took over and trapped them all. So now we're dealing with an on trade. And in terms of the volume, all the sellers' volume transferred over to the buys. The next seller's volume isn't all the way till up here, and most of the buyers' volume is towards the bottom end.
Okay, so so this zone here, once we resolve down, yesterday everyone was thinking about retest to sell, right? So you mark out your volume, this peak high volume here, this zone, right? Went down and then high volume at the bottom once more, coming from areas like this. Remember this one where we were talking about potentially being a release to go up?
Yeah.
Yep. So that zone reacted, and then we have high volume at the bottom. Did we transfer the volume from this guy to this guy?
I would say so.
Yep. Right. I think so too. So how it's gonna go up? That's the only thing I can say right now is we will see some reaction from here. Then we can try attempt to here. How it's gonna reach towards this zone here, that's still unknown. You know, it could still do this, pull back to all this SNRs, and then this being like the, although here could be on, right? But this could be the second leg or a third leg of the cheese kind of thing, where it could still go. All
I
right.
also like how the pullbacks coming in with low volume, and as the market opens, we could get high volume towards the bottom.
Yep. That's good. So your release, where are you marking it? Below market?
Yeah, right where your line is, or where the bodies are.
Okay. So we're expecting price to release from there, right? Because these are the low end of the range. They retest to sell, and then resolve up. So right now, what can you say about this overall trend?
I think it's still healthy. Even this buyer's volume here, it's cutting towards the lower end.
Okay, so it's more or less in the middle. Then we have some volume at the bottom. So market is about to open if there is high volume, and then if there's 5-minute setup, then this is something we can potentially look at. Now, are we in a counter trend? Because we are always worried that this could be a higher time frame primary that does this, right? So are we in a counter trend, do you think, or
No?
No? Yeah, the thing is, for this one, I'm a little bit unsure because if I just zoom out a little bit more, I see we are coming from what's this, slowly coming back up. So just for cases like this, I'll just see on the 240 if I'm counter trending. Doesn't really look like it, right? Does feel like
even on the files, it looks good.
Yeah. So another easy way to just quickly check is just to see on your 240 if this push here actually sort of like touch NMA from the top. So that's like a quick way to see if you could be in a counter trend that might be a primary from there, something like that. Okay. But in this case, all the MAs are also at the bottom, and price action doesn't really say that we are in a, it's not like here, right? Does that make sense? How I use MA to just quickly check.
Yeah.
Okay. So far right now we have Euro Aussie for Aussie weakness, Aussie USD for Aussie weakness, right? It's good. All right. Any questions for this one, guys?
I have a question, Lucas.
Yep.
I was looking at the correlation pair, Euro New Zealand.
Yep.
It's very similar setup.
Okay.
Yeah, I was trying to choose between this one and Aussie and New Zealand. I found actually New Zealand is more interesting because when I was looking at the 240, New Zealand is more kind of like an obvious uptrend versus Aussie kind of like a range.
Okay.
So not quite sure if that's a better option or both pair they're okay. I don't know.
Sure, we'll have a look. But for Euro Aussie, everyone good? Yep. Okay, that's Euro Kiwi. All right. So Yep, run us through. What do you see here? Every step of the way.
Yeah, okay. Let's. I have. Okay, so at the bottom, here we have a high volume over there. So therefore, this trend, I've got a volume from the bottom, and then on here, then the volume is over here, right? So there's a huge range up to here, and then we have seller coming. So and the seller, we have volume over here, right? And then come down, and then the price action start to chop, and then we have volume at bottom as well. So that could indicate this downtrend is not so healthy, and also it could indicate the price is actually reacting from a logical area. It looks like it's a refresh. So my last seller is sitting somewhere there. I'd say, yeah, I was actually looking at all of this as kind of like a range. And so my last seller can be there. Sorry, can be there. So now we have taken the last sellers out. So creating a trap that now going to retest the last attempt, which most likely to be here. That looks like my last seller attempt. So the price now is close to that vicinity. So I'm thinking about to buy the bounce from there.
Yep. So this looks pretty similar to what we had on Euro Aussie.
Yeah.
Now you can see a slight difference here.
Okay.
Just very slight. So just mark this. Okay, Euro Aussie, right? Euro Aussie has shown that the release after making this down push is here, right? This one, all this low. It's like a clear SNR.
Right.
Clear level to release, and then it try and fail. So this shows a little bit more of the fact that because it's so clear, I'm sure everyone would think that it's a sell, and then they got trapped. Not saying which one is better than which. It's just that Euro New Zealand, someone may still think it's a sell, and they might try to release from sell from there. But the thing is, we also always see some traps work, some traps doesn't work. Just maybe this release could be the one that would fail. So there's a slight difference there. But like you said, if this one is in an overall uptrend, this just might have enough argument to say this could be a little bit better, which is not really in an overall uptrend. This goes back to the same thing we talked about yesterday, right?
Yeah.
About where actually it's not this. Hold on, sorry. It's not this guy that determines we're in an uptrend, because from this low to this high, we also have price action from before, which didn't make higher highs all over those. So if this is the last guy who started, why is he taking so long to do whatever he wants to do, to resolve down or up? You see what I'm saying? So it's not really in an uptrend, but the setup still looks okay, still looks decent.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. So right now I'm also looking a little bit at the MAs just to see what we are doing. Are we coming up after no slowdown, coming to the higher MAs to refresh? But can I use MAs in this case to determine if it's a refresh or not? What do you think, Eric? Is it relevant to be used?
At the moment, this is in the range. I don't know if it's. No, I don't think so, because as you said, this is not really an uptrend. It's a range. So I'm not quite sure if we can using MA to gauge the trend.
Yeah. So because it's in a range, price are bound to touch the MAs. So it's very
right.
It's sort of illogical to use the MA to think about the fact that it could be a refresh or not, that kind of thing. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Right. But regardless of how the higher time frame looks, this is still a release zone for sure. Right. Still a release zone, still last attempts. What about the overall? Okay, where is this volume? This volume is at the top, the highest candle. And then we have high volume from the bottom towards, from the top, not so much high volume, and we are coming back towards the zone. So it's very, very much correlating anyway.
Yeah.
So we'll have a look at those two later, and then from there we can see how we choose the best one. Right. Yeah, I see Casey, you have a question, but before that, Team A, you guys have anything to ask about Euro Kiwi? All right, Casey, go ahead.
Just something quick I noticed about Euro New Zealand versus I'm sorry, not Euro New Zealand. Yeah, Euro New Zealand is spreads are pretty high on this one for me, for my broker, versus the others we were looking at. Just something that I noticed.
Yeah. Euro New Zealand, Pound New Zealand, the spreads are on most broker, at least, it's very bad. Yeah, speaking about that, when we're trading in the New York session, let's say if this is setting up close towards 1 p.m. New York, or close towards 2 p.m. New York, just make sure that your trade can resolve quickly, because some brokers, their spreads increase a lot when markets are closed. Yeah, just letting you guys know. There was once that I had 15 pip stop, market close, and my stops were hit, even though it's 15 pips away. So yeah. All right. So Maya had her pair, Jay and Eric. Ion, do you see anything?
Yes, I saw Aussie CAD and Aussie GPA. Let's say Aussie CAD.
Aussie CAD, okay. All right, so what do you see here?
Here we, let's put annotate. Okay, good. So from here we can see a downtrend on this, what I see here.
Yep.
We see here a high volume. High volume at the bottom, and then a range.
Mm-hmm.
With high volume, and then an initiation with high volume up.
Mm-hmm.
So here we can consider a range.
Mm-hmm.
Here it's a trap.
All right. So from this to this, what can you say about this downtrend?
From this to this, the downtrend looks not good because of this volume down.
Here,
Towards-
here, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And we expect it here to be a release from here, but it didn't. So we have a trap here. Okay, the price didn't reach this level,
Yeah.
but we are above this range now.
Mhm.
Okay, and this range was with high volume inside. You
Mhm.
can see here a volume.
Yeah.
Also, you can consider also this this zone.
Mhm.
So the whole it's can be a release zone. So I expect here what we can see here. Now this is, I don't know if it is still above or not the range. It seems to be inside now the range here. It entered the range, but we should see what happens. Here I can expect either up or down. So here on this detail, I'll delete what I did. Okay. Here, so here it's a resistance or a release zone. We have an uptrend now. The guy who started it is here, then it's here. And we can see here a turn, but we do not have a level here. And we can see here the type B of trap.
Yep.
So we have the V, we have the range here. It seems to break down this range here, and now we are in a test, and I expect a sell from here.
Okay, good.
Now,
So-
now the trade I think is ready to be a sell until here. With stop loss above.
Yeah.
Or maybe lower, I don't know.
Yeah.
No. Here, sorry.
So
How can I undo?
So are you worried about why are you not worried about this downtrend with all the high volumes at the bottom? Sorry about
We
that.
are inside the range. We entered into the range, I think. On this line you put here,
Yeah.
it seems to be inside the range now. And maybe we expect coming down, a retest, and blast.
Blast down.
Blast down until here.
Okay, then no, the question I'm trying to ask is if this downtrend is not healthy with all the volumes at the bottom, right?
Yes, and also because this volume
Yeah,
came.
and this volume, we're still pretty much in a downtrend. The question I'm asking is why are you not worried that we may come towards the end of a downtrend and any cells might still do this? It's not really about where I draw the line.
So now I am for a sell, but can you repeat the question, please?
The question is, this downtrend.
We are in a downtrend, yeah.
Yep, the downtrend doesn't look healthy anymore. Why
okay.
still sell?
Because of this type of trap here. And also we came into this high range here under this line.
Okay.
So it's a short-term trade.
Okay.
From let's say here to here, we stop loss here.
Okay. Yep. So the thing I want
also
you
it comes with the trend. Yeah.
Yeah.
We see.
Yep. That trend. Yep. That part is good. the thing I want you to focus on a little bit more for the next 2 weeks is to understand the logic a little bit more. So what I'm trying to say is, okay, not good, all because of these volumes, right? So you want to put some logic into your analysis. So when we break towards the upside, above SNRs, if this downtrend is so unhealthy, we should have launched from there. Hard, like super hard to go up. Right? Here, this is what you want to look for. High volume again. What are the high volume doing there? Logically,
Trying to go up. Yeah.
yeah. So logically speaking, in this downtrend with all the volume at the bottom, it should go up. All right. So that's how you use your logic of the volumes. So all of these attempts are telling you it's not going up, it's not going up, it's not going up. And you have to remember the fact that we might just be in an area where this could be a refresh with a primary, secondary to go down. So your analysis is right using the technical levels, but it's not so much of the resistance and the guy who started, which is correct, but you need to add a little bit more logic to it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you.
Yep. So I have the same analysis about this one. The only thing that I'm worried about is this break here doesn't look big enough for me to assume that this is a retest to sell. It might be based on the other correlated pairs. But ideally speaking, I would like to have a bigger push and a deeper pullback. Not deeper pullback, a more extended pullback.
Yes. Okay. With your analysis, I could see a lot of setups like this. With these small ranges and the ranges, and then a blast.
Yeah. Yep. There are times where it sets up like that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Any questions?
Thank you very much for the correction.
No worries. It's not so much about correction. It's more about just add more logic to what price is trying to tell you.
Yes. Thank you very much.
Yep. No worries. So
I
same.
just have a
Hold on. Just one more thing. Just want to point out that here, this is one straight push coming up to the 50 MA. So it just might be enough for these guys to do a refresh.
So this is the confirmation with MX. Yeah.
Yeah. So although you have volume at the bottom, you can try and go with your sell. The only way to stay safer with that is make sure we get a good enough price at a good enough level.
Okay. So the TP, it's we expect here a lower low, or until when do you consider the TP?
Here you will see some reaction here because of the volume and the range. So before coming into primary, secondary refreshes, we would think that this is an area for release, right? Come down to do this. Yeah. So any sell from this area here, we have to get out there just in case. If it stops there afterwards, then that becomes the on. If it slows down and then high volume at the top. Does that make sense, Ian?
Yes. Thank you. So we go level to level.
Yep.
So the first trade is from here. Let's say after a break and retest, and after that we expect here a rejection and another trade where we expect a lower low.
Yep.
Thanks.
Jay?
I don't know if I'm gonna word it right, but I was looking at a sell on this one too, but I ruled it out because the high volume bars were coming in here, here, and here. So I didn't know if the sell breaks through, if I should still be worried about these volumes.
Yeah. So what I would usually do in cases like this is see where it makes, we have to go down to the 5, but just on this time frame, you'll see volume, this bar here, right? And then this bar. What I would do is just put a mark there. I'll mark it out there, have my line draw here. If we're able to cross that area and then retest, it might just be a little bit safer. Again, emphasizing on the might, because if we do cross down there, we're coming very close to a release, potential release anyway. Ultimately, this is the release we're learning from the theory point of view, but price may still stop there. So it all depends on how this thing moves. It's a little bit tight.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a little bit tight. So in cases like this would be much more easier and safer to take.
Yeah.
Once we know it goes through, come towards this release zone. If this release fails, which we are expecting it to because it's in a downtrend and it's trying to refresh, then this would be, the safest one.
Yeah, I was just worried if it only came down a little bit for a test, if the volume would still get in the way.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Territory are we in?
Williams, sorry.
So whose territory are we in? Is it a buyer's territory or still in sellers?
You could say we are still within his territory. Yep. Chances are it's gonna come down like that, but it's a little bit tight right now. On the 5-minute, we can barely see a pullback. Okay, so the reason why I say chances are it's gonna go down is because other Aussie pairs looks like it's doing the same thing. All right. Any question for this one, Laila?
Yeah. Isn't this two-sided for now? I'm thinking if it spikes down and goes up very fast, you could take it here to the next level where the big volume is. Or if it goes up and goes down very fast, you can take it down then. Because it is in this range, and the opening hour is in a half an hour. So, and not a lot of volume for now.
I don't understand what you mean by if this goes down.
If it goes down and it comes up right away, couldn't it be a buy? Not slow up, but just comes back right away.
Yep, it might be it.
Couldn't you like a buy then?
If it goes down really quick, comes back down, comes back up really quick as well.
Yeah.
So then it just might be the fact that this is buy.
Yeah.
This would be your primary, and then if it goes up further and then sort of like trap like that, right? Then this would be your secondary or your on phase to go back up.
Yeah.
Yep.
Or
but the thing is, because we are overall in a downtrend, and this right here, after checking the higher time frame, that it might just be a refresh. So we do not want to try the buys here.
No, but and if it goes up and very fast down, then it would be a safer sell. I'm thinking, why take it from here when it's not safe? It's ranging. Maybe it's gonna go up. Maybe it's gonna go down. Why not wait if it's and see the reaction afterwards and then take it.
Okay, because this one is this one. It's this.
Trying to go, yeah.
It has already happened. Generally speaking, when you have this, what's price action telling you? Buyers are strong, right?
Yeah.
Sales are strong also. So in this case, both buyers and sellers want to have a piece of this price action. So if there's equal buyer and equal sellers, what do you think is going to happen afterwards?
Ranging, and then if it resolves up or down.
Yeah. So here,
we decided yes.
Up or down, then the answer to that is based on volume, based on trend, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So,
I treated it like a range, all of it. I didn't think of that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this up, coming back down, then you check. All right, is it actually coming to enough of an area for a refresh? You do that by checking the MAs just now, right? So
Yeah.
check that. Might just be a primary. Might just be. So here, all of this could be the secondary getting ready.
Yeah. Okay. Got it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Lucas.
No worries. Ian?
Yeah, what I want to say or ask, or when we consider here a release, the release from here and here, the primary, secondary, we should go to a higher time frame to see the MAs, right? In order to confirm us that this could be a release, a refresh.
No. Are you asking if this primary, the way to get in is to check if we touch the MA?
Yes. Like to have a confirmation that now it can be a refresh, so that trend resumes down.
Yeah, but you don't want to get in based on the MAs. So here it touches the MA and then it goes down. It's only then you say it might just be a primary. Then maybe you try this, the so-called secondary. But
so the primary, we do not try the primary. The primary tells us something.
Yeah, unless this is coming from a level.
Okay.
Yep. So again, we do not use MAs for target, for entry, and it's not a level. It's just an indication. That's all.
Yes. Okay. Thank you.
Yep. Okay. So Aussie weakness as well. So most pair have Aussie weakness. All right. Williams. Ella, you have a question?
No, thank you.
Okay. Because you raised your hand. Williams?
Yeah.
What pair do you have for us today?
Not really sure, but I'm looking at a USD card.
Okay, let's have a look. What do you see here?
So I noticed the downtrend is it's not that early anymore, based on the last detailed view.
Mm-hmm.
We have the volume at the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
So could this be the first primary? I know it got taken. Then probably wait for secondary to launch. Then I could take the G's. Sure.
Okay. So in this case, have you checked the higher time frame if we are borderline counter trending?
Yes.
Yep. So let's have a look.
I believe so.
All right. So on the 240, the MAs are still far away, right? Still far away. So there might be a possibility where it can still push up. All right. So you're looking at this release here. Yeah, I guess it looks similar to the other pairs. The only thing that I would add is when you have other pairs, like today, you want to lean on pairs that have stronger structure, if that makes sense. So let's say this price action here, right? Aussie USD looks a little bit similar, but it looks a little bit stronger because it feels like there are more attempts here, right? This push is strong, clearly make higher highs, this clear try, and then resolution towards downside. USD CAD looks a little bit smaller. Although it looks similar, but doesn't really feel like you have enough tries that's strong enough, that kind of thing. But technically speaking, it's still logical for you to think about a push.
Okay.
Yeah, but do you see the slight difference there?
Yes, awesome.
Yeah. Yep. So, all right, I don't have too much to add for this one. One other thing I would probably look at is where high volume ahead of me is. So in this case, I do see volume here. A little bit here and a little bit here. So might have some small complications because we are really tight between where we are and where the high volume is. The thing is, we came back from the high volume area. So might changes things a little bit. The difference here is if you have high volume here, let's say, these two lines, I'll just draw it out again here, and you have your trap around here, that's still okay because it's still far away. But if the high volume is right here, then you're not sure if this wall is strong enough to keep push price down, something like that. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so this is the thing with counter trend, right? You would want to think about the buys here, but when we get up there here to do this buy, then you have to start questioning yourself because this right here may just have invited enough buyers for all these guys to refresh,
To take over, yeah.
to do this. So in this case, I'll lean a little bit more towards Aussie USD. Yeah.
I was looking at this one too, but after seeing how deep the pullback came in, it kind of looked like this was the primary, secondary for the sell.
Yeah, it might be. It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense why primary would come in so quickly, but it might be. It might be.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Let's put this blue. Okay. Questions so far? Team B? No. All right, let's put it on. So far we have a lot of Aussie pairs, right? What I generally do is open up 4 correlated pairs. So the way I look at it is you want to put all the Aussies down. So in this case, let's start with Euro Aussie. Okay. And then what other Aussie pairs we have? Aussie CAD and Aussie USD. Aussie USD. Right. Then on this last pair, I'll just check if there's any other similar pairs. Say, for example, Pound Aussie, which looks a little bit similar. Okay. What I'm looking for on the correlated pairs is just similar price action where the pattern looks alike. So let's just say from the pairs we have discussed so far, Euro Aussie looks a little bit better than the rest. It's not too counter trending. Yeah, the point is it's not really counter trending, and it might just be an on phase kind of thing. So Euro Aussie becomes my focus, and then all the rest of the pairs, all the rest of the Aussie pairs is just, I'm just looking for areas where it could release at the same time. So like Aussie USD, it is at a release zone, right? Around here. Aussie CAD, it's at an area where price could push down. So this kind of vicinity around here. Pound Aussie has similar patterns. So at this juncture here, I'm just looking at pattern, nothing more. All right. This sort of range with a release potential, that kind of thing. All right. So I'm not looking at too many things, not making things way too complicated. All these are just for me to see if I'm looking for a buy from here, if it travels halfway, and if all the other pairs reverses, let's say Aussie CAD just reverse up, this just reverse down, this just reverse up, I just want to get up. That's all. That's all I'm doing. And it also adds a little bit more confirmation, knowing the fact that, you know, other pairs are setting up the same way as my pair. Okay, so when we go down to the 5, everyone following along so far? Yeah.
All good. Yeah.
Okay, so let's go one by one. Euro Aussie. How you want to do it is, after knowing the higher time frame story, 60-minute story, volume, etc., just go down to the 5. Look at where the last guy is. Right. In this case, before looking at where the last guy is, just look at the volume. Right. So volume from top to bottom, starting to increase right around Frankfurt. 3 p.m. is Frankfurt for me. To make things a little bit easier, let me put it in London time. So 7 a.m. volume increased. Volume increased, the bar is still going down, it's not going anywhere. So who's selling down there? Right, that's a question we ask, who's selling down there? Sort of reversed, still high volume. All right, so and in this case, my guy who started is right here. And all the volumes are a little bit towards the bottom end. Here, this volume is here. So at the top, it's not too high volume, but towards the bottom, it is showing signs that it's logical for volume to come in order for the buy to resume. All right, so once I marked out the guy who started here, which I need to cross, retest for release. Just go back to my correlated charts. Put it here. Put an alarm. That's all. Okay. So the other pairs that we have was Aussie USD 60, more or less like a counter trend. Same thing, right? We have already say there's a release on the 60 and the volume on the higher end doesn't really look that good. So let's just see on the 5, what's this pullback doing? Is the volume good or not? Let's drop down to the 5. Okay, so this zone here is where the 60-minute level is. So on the 5, we have a few things going on. From the bottom towards the top, where's the highest volume? In this case, the highest volume is here, which is not looking so good, right? But where's the last guy who started on the way up? Do I see my uptrend dying? Not really, right? Slightly increased a little bit, but not so much. So the only thing I have on this pair right now is this is my last guy. These are my last attempts before the kill. This is the retest sell, which ideally, we would want to try and take the sell. In a better case scenario, we do not want to have volume down there. But otherwise, this would be the release zone, this level here. Let me just zoom in. Right here. And then stops above.
So that will be our secondary sell, eh?
Yeah. Yeah, it might be. All right. Yeah, it might be. So on this price action here, we would want to think about this area here potentially giving us trouble because we do have high volume down there. So price will chop around here, but if all the other pairs are doing the same thing, it might continue to push down. Yep, Casey?
On this one, would it be if we were to get that entry just based on that trap, would it be too tight to put our stops above these last guys who attempted? Would that be too tight? And then you said put up here.
In this case, yes, because there's no volume.
Okay. If we have a lot of volume in this area, then that would be better.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. I'll still try and put it at least here, because I'm the type of trader who don't really like getting in again after being stopped out because it feels like I'm revenge trading. So I just like to have it a little bit higher, just in case, spreads or anything like that comes up, squeezes me and then goes down. So it goes back to how you want to trade it. Okay, so this one here, just a little bit concerned because we do not have volume up there. So going back here, the Aussie USD already have a kill, but volume is not really so good. Other pairs do not really have a kill yet. Okay, so let's move on to another one. Aussie CAD. Aussie CAD, like we were saying just now, we can't really sell it right here because we are right at where support is. Right? Price can still push up. So it might cross down before giving us a clear retest. So in this case, I wouldn't do anything too much on this pair. The only thing I would do is just go back to my correlated charts and then just put an alarm down at where the break would be. Just to indicate that there's strength coming in, or weakness from the Aussies coming in. Right, all these are just indication. I'm not really looking at too many things. Okay, last we have Pound Aussie, which has similar pattern as Euro Aussie. Now, this pair, we haven't really looked at the overall picture and stuff like that. But what we can see is we have this. All right, all the story is pretty much is the same, I would say. Okay, it's just that, you know, when we get up towards here, try not to hold it because we might still see some release because this pair doesn't feel like it has released yet. Right? So in this case, whereas the 5 is here, again, same story, high volume at the bottom, a little bit high volume at the top, similar to Aussie Cat, which is not so good, not so healthy. But we have a little bit higher volume at the bottom. This is 7 a.m. when Frankfurt opened. Sells come in. Who is selling down there? Got reversed. So right now we have this guy. If he gets killed, retest would easily be a push towards the upside. Does that make sense, everyone? Yep. Try and digest this. Let's take 5 and then we'll come back with more questions. So for whatever the case is, say Aussie USD, when we see stuff like that, this happening, this is the part where we really have to be concerned. Because there were a few things, right? The fact that on the higher end, am I on mute or okay? You guys hear me? On the higher end, there's no volume, but we got a kill. Sets up around here, right? Or if we get in the retest here. So this is the area where it's supposed to continue pushing down. When we see high volume like that coming in on the opposite side, it's sort of saying that, anyone who was selling down there might temporarily be trapped. Yeah, especially with volume at the bottom and no volume at the top. This is where things get really ugly for the setup. So here, this is the part where you guys want to look at your journal and how you guys want to trade it over the long run. You can just exit without taking a full loss, or see what's going to happen here. If it pulls back and still makes higher high, then it's sort of like a double confirmation where everyone's trapped. So you can just exit now or pull back, get out there if it closes to a new high, confirming the fact that all these guys are trapped. Yeah. So if I'm caught in situations like that, that's the two things I might consider. Where do I want to get out? Sometimes waiting for this will be risky because if it retests and by the time it closes, it's all the way up there, then what's the point? I'm out at 1 hour. So yeah. Yep. But now the thing is, look at all the other pairs, even higher volume coming in. I switched to Euro Kiwi and the pair Eric was talking about, even higher volume coming in. Okay, so we just have London open, which again it's at 4 p.m. my time. London is 8 a.m. It just opened with high volume. If all these guys push down, holds, confirming that it's a new guy and reverses, you have a new guy that is killed, you do not need to cross any higher. So it's like this. Since right now the highest volume is here, if we do see some small holds confirming that it's a new guy, it's even better because we have a much bigger risk reward to play with. Yeah. Yep, Casey?
Yeah, I just want to say our faces might be in the way on the recording on the right side of the screen.
You can minimize the face.
That's right. I can move it.
Sorry, I'm not sure what you're talking about.
Just really on the recording, if you go back and watch it, you can't move or minimize the faces. Sometimes they're usually on the right side of the screen.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So it might be hard to, when you were drawing earlier, it might be hidden on the recording back is all I was thinking about.
Oh, okay. This piece here, you mean?
Could be. I've seen some of the recordings. Our faces are over there to the right.
Oh, okay.
And some of the drones get hidden behind it sometimes. That's all.
Yeah, I'll have a look at that.
I think you can play with the view on the upper right.
Yeah, you can move it live, but on the recordings, if you go back and look, sometimes
And
Far
I
too
usually
right
use side by side the gallery, and then drag towards the right, and I can see all the screen from Lucas and also the people.
You mean live
you-
or recording?
Live.
Live. Yeah, but I think Casey is talking about recording.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Not sure why that is. I'll have a look later. Yeah, Williams.
Yeah, this I'm looking this Euro New Zealand. We're on 5 minutes, right?
Yep. Let me go
I'm
back.
sorry, going out to 5 minutes.
Yep. This one, right?
No, go back to the correlation now. So looking at these, is it advisable to take a trade like this? Because I see the like trend, like the B type, they're supposed to go there on the continuation. Is it advisable to take a trade like this on instead of not looking at the 60?
You mean taking the trade on this time frame here?
Yeah, because it looks like this is a B type setup already.
Yeah.
On five.
Yeah. No, because you still want to lean on your 60-minute level.
That's okay.
Yeah. So all of this is just telling you that, you know, price may have problem at this area here. Yeah. So it's also telling you that they are releasing from this B type.
Right.
Yeah. So if the release fails and high volume kicks in, you're assuming that anyone who sold are trapped.
Okay.
Yeah. Then you resume the big boy trend.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Any questions so far from how I'm looking at correlation? I'm not looking at too many things or not making things too complicated.
So how many pairs do you choose to see it? 8 or like now 4?
Just 4.
Okay, the most important, which looks similar, like sister pairs.
Yeah, just sister pairs. Yep.
Thank you.
All right. Team B, do you guys have any other pairs that you guys are looking at? Ross, Dennis, Stevan, Casey, or Lila? Williams, you have your hand raised.
Oh, no, I'm sorry.
Okay, no worries. No.
Yeah, no, I was looking at these Aussie pairs myself. Aussie USD was my main one I was looking at.
Yeah.
Which it's going crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's mostly most of the time you really want to have volume. On the 60, it all looks great, right? Yeah, and then now because there's no volume at the top, it doesn't look so healthy. Especially just now when I was talking about it, there was some slight hesitation about the cells. Now, the other thing is, if we do see a setup afterwards here, this area might cause us some problem. Right? If, let's say, we have a setup to sell, still within the same zone, this area might be a problem because this is an area where potential 5-minute traders were trapped. Right? Everyone understood this piece? Because technically speaking, it should have went from there, but because volume isn't really that good, so a little bit unsure if we want to get in there. But let's say volume looks good here, we will see a fight going on at this zone. So here it's very important where we have much more higher volume than what's coming up right now, to at least increase our probability of the trade, just holding a little bit and then crash. Yep. The other thing I want to add is, just make sure every time we get in on the 5, there's volume behind us, because that's the most important thing. All right, so clearly making lower lows. If this guy gets taken out, it's going to be a clear entry. Here, clearly making lower lows. If we do reverse, we will have a clear entry. This one, let's see. As of right now, the only way to get back into this trade is make sure we completely reverse down. Okay, so yeah, that's pretty much what I'll do. After scanning the pairs, I'll just sit and wait for my alarm to hit while doing other stuff, because I do not want to focus on too many pairs. Laila?
It's not about technicals, my question. It's more about the fundamentals, what's happening in the world right now. I'm thinking that everybody talked about this new virus, Omicron, and all the commodities just went down. And now they are talking that it is mild. So I'm thinking that everybody is thinking, okay, commodity up now because it wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
Do you consider stuff like this when you take trades? I'm thinking, okay, it's on the 5, it's so little levels, but isn't it a risk when you take a move like that? Thinking about the bigger picture, maybe thinking about, okay, maybe all the commodities are starting to go up now.
Yeah, only if there's correlating setup on the charts. If it's just sentiment, then it's still difficult to get in on any of this, like sell or buy here, right?
Okay, so you have the correlation and the volume and all that to back you up with the fund, then it's okay.
Yeah, if the setup says the same.
Setup. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So, yep.
Just a question on the Aussie. We go back Aussie USD on 5 minutes.
Yep.
If that does reverse now with higher volume,
yep,
and it comes back and it gives us an entry, does it mean that that area now on the left side at the bottom with high volume won't give us any more trouble? I mean, if it reverses now with higher volume, then it might push through that.
It might
more easily.
Yeah, it might, because you can assume that this zone here, or at least this reaction, came from this guy. Yeah. So if we do reverse, you have a better chance of making through that zone. So it depends on how it reverses. So let's say if it does just crash through like that, gives you a deep pullback, then you have no worries at all, because his volume has been transferred to the downside also. Like you're below him, that kind of thing.
Cool.
Yeah. It was at this area here where you can think about a few things based on this, if you want to exit earlier or not, just because there's not much volume there.
Yeah, but this is a good example of, if you do take the primary, then you can expect buyers to come back in from that level, as is happening now at the moment.
Yep. So best case scenario is always where we sell the primary as early as we can. In this case, the earliest it could be is around here, this price, as it breaks through. I know it's difficult to sell there, but best case scenario is the next area where it could cause problem for a pullback to come in is further away, because sometimes price may turn halfway. And then the other thing, like the core basics is, just have volume behind you. Otherwise, take an attempt. If this price action happens when market open with volume, it's a big warning sign. Yeah. So it's a really good example because on good trades, there's probably nothing for me to add. But on days where it's a little bit more trickier, there's more to learn. All right.
I believe this high volume on Aussie USD is coming from Asia, but if it was coming from dead hours, should we still be concerned if it's high?
No, not really. So let's say if it's like that, then no, you wouldn't be concerned about this. Like if it's dead, and then suddenly a spike up like that, then it's not a huge deal.
Same as if we got like high volume throughout this piece, we wouldn't really care about it.
So this is 5 a.m. London, which is what, Asia, right? You would start to take note of it at least. It's just cases like this where it's just super low and then one spike. It's only situations like this where I completely ignore the volume. But if there's decent enough, say like this, this would be a concern. Yeah. Yeah. So this one here would be a concern because it's not like a spike, it's gradually increasing along the way.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So not much for us to do besides waiting for the alarm to hit. Okay, let's have a look at a few pairs. Swiss yen, no one has Swiss yen. This is similar to Aussie CAD, right? So pairs like this, I would do the same thing because it's similar to Aussie CAD. I wouldn't read too much into it for now because I always like to trade when we're pulling back to a release instead of preempting a break. So there's not much for me to do unless we cross that area. So for now, I wouldn't think too much about what my analysis could be. Because the more I think, the more energy is spent and nothing has happened yet. So sort of like reserving the mental energy until something happens. New Zealand USD is similar to Aussie USD, right? Okay, just two yen pairs or a few yen pairs that might be interesting. Aussie yen, I know yesterday I was saying the sell, if it refreshes again, it might just look sketchy, might not look that good because overall we are pretty much ranging. But I just want to point out that yesterday, when we were talking about the release around here, it did came out exactly to where that area is, especially this tail. I think, Jay, you were asking about this, right? So sometimes it's better to stay a little bit more conservative and wait for wait for price to come up as close as possible to that area as much. So although this is not really downtrending or uptrending so far based on what we have since end of December, what I also see is the possibility of this being a huge refresh. Buys from there, goes up, stalls, resolve down with a potential sell. Now, emphasizing on the word potential here because volume on this pair doesn't really look that good. We have volume here. We have volume again at the bottom. Volume again on this particular last red bar. So I just want to point this pair out because on the face of it, it might look like it's getting ready to go, but it's still a little bit 50-50 for me. It still could do this, but I'm not sure if we take trades like this over the long run, if it will make money. Right? Same goes for Kiwi Yen. Kiwi Yen looks a tad better. The reason why I say that is because this looks very clear that everyone was trying to sell. And when we resolve up, 100% everyone would think it's a buy. Based on this release and SNR's break, once we get this kill, if the downtrend has resumed, this would be a very clean sell. Just based on the price action. Right, but we sort of have the same thing with the volume. The highest volume on this is here. And we do have some volume around this zone here. All right, now, it's not to say it's the worst because look at where the highest volume is. Highest volume so far on this uptrend. Here. Here. And here. All right, so far right now, this uptrend is still strong-ish, goes up, like mediocre, right? Not strong or not weak. But when this thing resolves back down, this guy's volume is transferred over and then we have volume on the sell side as well. So again, we are trapped between two zones where we do have high volume. In those kind of instances, are we trending with a potential refresh kind of thing? Just zoom out a little bit to see. I'm not sure, again, see, like what kind of situation are we in? Are we still in an uptrend or are we slowly dying out to sell? So a little bit unclear, but there's a potential where this thing could still push down. New Zealand yen and Aussie yen. It might just be the Aussie weakness that we see in the market right now. So in those cases, which Aussie pairs are the best? It would be the ones that we talked about, right? Euro Aussie, Aussie USD, this one, or on the flip side, Euro Kiwi. All right, any questions? Am I going too fast or are you guys still able to understand what I'm trying to say?
It's all
No,
good.
it's okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a question. If we see, for example, Japanese yen weakening and Aussie strength, can we pair them
Yeah.
in a way to get a good risk reward? Well, and on which time frame? I think 1 hour.
Well, you see some yens potentially coming in, right? Like Swiss franc yen, yen potentially coming in. And then you know Aussie might potentially be weak as well, right? So
Yes.
just based on that, Aussie yen would be a very good pair to think about a sell. But then you also have to consider the price action. So price action doesn't really tell you much we are still in a range. We are still not sure who's in control on the higher time frame. Volume still looks a tad risky. Doesn't look clean, if you know what I mean. But ideally speaking, if this is like an on phase, because what you see here is this push came down to this guy, all these attempts resolve down. So ideally you would want to see a release from there. And if this is the on kind of situation, it should retest and make new lows from there. It's just the volume is not so clear. Yeah. The setup doesn't look that clear. Yeah. So this Swiss yen was the other one. I think Eric was talking about, right, yesterday. So we do see highest volume here, right? So lowest one is right around this bar. Bam, right there. And then what happened next? All the high volume is above, and then we sort of created this range, resolved down. Very little space for us to read a pullback. So what we can do is just wait and see what happens here. Resolve down, should be on from there. Would you be worried about areas like this with high volume? Yes, you would be. So make sure when we sell this, we are selling as far away as we can from this volume before they do any kind of bounce or rejection, that kind of thing. So we are able to survive those kind of move. So yeah, is this a refresh based on the MAs? For the sell side? Eric?
Yes, it is a refresh, I'd say.
Yeah, right, because there's no range. So
yeah,
if there's no range,
touches 50.
Yeah, touches 50, right? So potentially a primary, potentially a secondary. It's just the question of this secondary is not so strong. Hopefully it can push down stronger so we can get a decent pullback to resume the sales like that.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, I think yesterday we talked about this. We need to take out this guy completely before we can consider sell, because we've got high volume in here. Even though we have high volume here, it is not, if we hadn't take out this guy yet, pull back to there, still got risk here.
Might be, yeah, because there is volume.
Yeah. Okay, good.
So even on the 240, the highest volume on this pullback, usually speaking, it's all just equal, the same. It's very hard to distinguish which is higher. But here,
but this one is
it's at the top.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
So it does give you more indication for the sell side.
Yeah.
So again, on the daily, just in case we are worried that this could be a higher time frame buy potentially coming in, right? Just on the daily, just want to check. Could it be a refresh? Not sure, because this push didn't really slow down. So it has to at least cross the 50 MA.
Yeah.
It's not quite there yet. Might be around that zone. So we can potentially test our luck to try go for a push.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, not enough pullback for us to fade to sell, even to the recent lows. It's not good enough risk reward. So these are the few ones that I find interesting for today. Aussie cat completely turned around here.
Interesting.
Just do this so the face at least covers this piece. Right, completely turn around. Euro Kiwi, big rejection coming in. What's this hammer kind of candle? Here potentially, forming so-called hammer as well. So let's see. These are usually good signs because there are a few kind of situations. First situation is when pre-market before Frankfurt open, it moves up with no volume. Let me just hide everything. Okay, pre-market, let's say 6 a.m. London, goes up without volume, and then Frankfurt comes in with volume. So 7 a.m. So is this good or not? I'm not sure, right? Because there's still London that could open and then has higher volume, right? So we cannot really trust anything that happens pre-market because I'm just not sure enough that there is enough big boy hitting it, especially if there's no volume. So, and then when 7 a.m. comes, Frankfurt open, and then it reverses the whole thing, the probability of this thing trying to go down increases just a little bit more because volume from Frankfurt is telling you that it wants to go down. But there are a lot of traders who would still consider Frankfurt as pre-market for London. So it's, let's say, on a scale of very sure to unsure. So this is like not so sure, like meh, not so sure. This is like very sure. This would be smack bang in the middle, right? But if you see Frankfurt coming in with volume, and then London at 8 goes up, reverses everything, then it's coming up towards here. It's sort of saying that, okay, we have let everyone pre-market do their stuff. And if they are not able to do anything with volume and the volume reverses everything, then we lean towards here. So it all depends on time of day, which correlates with the volume. So right now, when we have Euro Aussie, okay, Euro Aussie is telling us at around 4 p.m. my time, which is 8 o'clock, which is London open. London's the one that make the push down, and if London also gets killed, like this, it's a huge indication that I think we have chosen a direction. So we match all that with the price action to see, which one has, to see which direction they are trying to choose. If that makes sense. Does that make sense? Yeah. So the market open hours are pretty important as well. You have this, and then you guys will see sometimes in the late New York session, let's say everything has moved. All right, last piece of news is around 2 p.m. New York time or 3 p.m. Last piece of news moved. It has chosen a direction, but doesn't really mean that we need to get in because market is about to close soon. So it's all situations like that.
It's also around the equities hour. I'm in an hour and a half into the London session and then also the New York session. It's normally when it moves most.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. So at this stage, we'll just be looking at the market, and you guys can pretty much ask me anything.
So have the break of
Yep.
the small range up.
Yep. So if you were saying what you were saying just now, entry here, stops above, you see your trade going. The thing is, I wouldn't be sure where exactly in this zone to get in.
Do you ever go down to the 1 minute? That
No,
might give us a clue.
no, not really. You can. Yep, go ahead.
So now we expect a test of the last range. We
You
expect
can.
something like this. Enter here, stop loss here, and take profit here.
At this stage, what you can do is just, price comes back, just sell it from there, stops above. Because you have all the volume behind you here. If it just pulls back, just get in. However, the situation changes
Here.
if you see slow down, slow down, slow down. If you see more slow down and then it comes back, then you have to fade this buyers. Remember, Casey, you were asking me yesterday about this. So this push that comes down, if it just comes up, pull back, you just sell it. But if it slows down once more, it's telling you, this piece is telling you that on the 60, okay, let me do this. See cat. Let's say okay, so if it comes back to push down right away, it all just means that it's a continuation push of this push, right? On this time frame, this 60 minute. But if it goes down, starts to slow down, change trend direction like that, that just means this push has ended. It's waiting for a new pullback for a new leg coming down. So it's the reason why this is important is because at this stage, or at least here, if it pulls back just one candle, you can just hit it. But here, if you see all this price action slowing down, if price comes back up, you have to fade the buys. You cannot just hit the sell as price comes up. Does that make sense? Because this is like a whole new leg on this piece here. It's not a continuation of the push down.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yep. So worst case scenario, we don't get an entry retest. And then the second piece of the price action, second piece of the thing we can take is hopefully a retest to sell, depending on how we react from this release. At least you guys, no, yeah, I was just gonna say, at least you guys know that this release is not something we want to attempt, because we may just be stepping ahead of what is a refresh to make new lows kind of thing. Yeah, Casey, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, if it does cool down slowly and kind of you have to fade it back to that test, that would be like maybe some New York stuff, and then look for high volume at that trap area. Is
Yeah.
that kind of how we would play that one?
If it goes down
Yeah.
and pulls back slowly,
Yeah.
then it would be like a whole new thing again. This zone being a potential release on the 60-minute.
Mm-hmm.
You fade the 5 to wait for the 5-minute to get a kill. 5-minute have a trap on just below 60-minute trap kind of thing. Situation. Let's see, what do we have here? Okay, this stage, candlestick pattern looks good, right? Just a tad, maybe this is just the conservative part of me speaking. Volume on some pairs doesn't really look super good. Especially I'm just thinking with this kind of big rejection going on, why is volume still not like super, super high? But it's fine, right? Because just this downtrend, if we look at one pair, Euro Aussie from the top towards the bottom, still have the same thing going on, where the highest volume is still at the bottom. So it's still okay, although it's not like this kind of high. I'm just looking at Euro Kiwi. With this huge rejection going on, the volume still isn't really looking that high. But from the top here to the bottom, it's still highish towards the bottom. So it's okay. Okay. So line here, this is where the high volume is for Aussie USD. All right, one by one, let's do a double check. This downtrend, highest volume at the bottom, which is also where the guy who started is, right here. Euro Kiwi, same price action, highest volume is at the bottom, which is also where the guy who started is. Aussie CAD is confirming that it's a downtrend. So far, highest volume is still at the top. All right, it's not like highest volume is picking up towards the bottom. Okay. Aussie USD, volume is equally distributed throughout the way up. But it's reversing everything, which is also good. So this break and potential retest will be a good trade to take. You know, whether it makes money or not, that's something else. But being a good trade or not, I would say it's a good trade.
Hey, Luke, just on that Euro Aussie, you would wait for that candle to totally close on the 5-minute before you throw, or would you go ahead and put a like limit order in there?
Yeah, I have. Generally speaking, I would wait for it to close above and have all the volume transferred over.
Gotcha. That would be the confirmation that that guy was taken out where you're at right now. If that kennel closes, because I've done that before. Not let the kennel close and it just slams down and closes. Horrible.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. See like exactly what it's doing right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Just barely didn't really close above him. It closed almost even.
Yeah. So what you could do, situations like this, well, you still sort of have volume right beside you. If price does come back down, right, for anyone who's still thinking of a sell, and if it rejects and just closes above this area, then you can just join the sell here instead of waiting for this situation. The whole goal at this point is just to make sure volume is behind you and killing the last guy who started. That's all. How you want to get in is up to you, based on your personality and how you want to trade it. But the goal is for it to be clear, guy who started taken out and volume behind you. That's all. Then you assess, okay, where's my release? Where's my trap? Where can I get in as close to the release as much as I can? All that kind of stuff.
And then let's say we got an entry, like what you just said, our exit point would be based off of where the last trap
on the 5?
Or on the 5.
So you want to think about what this is. On the 60, if our assumption is correct that this is a primary, and well, I don't know if primary is around this zone here or secondary is around here, that kind of thing. If that's our assumption, then this should be the so-called the on phase.
Actually, to make higher highs.
Yeah, so to at least travel to this area here, based on this assumption, right? So the situation is different. The situation is different. Let's just say, flip it around. If this is a higher time frame primary for a sell, and this is the risky buy that may or may not work. So this buy, you want to get out at the trap because you're worried that secondary might kick in. But we have checked this and it's not really the case that this is a primary secondary sell. It looks more like we are resuming this push like that. All right, now we have high volume. 1.5 minutes before candle close.
Normally in that last 2 minutes of an hourly close candle that it forms a doji.
Yeah. First 30, 45 minutes, it moves one way and traps everyone and then reverses.
I'll be still focused on that Aussie dollar. The dollar pairs also say the same thing. They also
reversing.
Sort of so the dollar pairs in correlation also are at some levels where they sort of rejecting off those levels now.
Like this one, yeah. Yep. So any questions so far? Let me just see. What's this? 31 pip stop. So Aussie USD cross this low again. Right? Let me see if I can get an entry. All right. Yeah, any questions before we wrap things up? You guys can have a look, keep looking at these pairs. Might set up well, might set up not well. But the goal is identifying the right type of trade we want to get in.
One more question, Lucas. Like on the 5 minutes now for the Aussie dollar, will you wait for it to break first and then come back to the reaction area, or will you do aggressive entry now?
So you want to judge that by looking at the other pairs. So in this case, sorry, I have a notification here. In this case, you see all the pairs like moving strong and hard, right? Here, this is pretty okay-ish. You can get in here, but your stops have to be here. But waiting for this and this might be asking a little bit too much. You see what I'm saying? Because it sort of shows that the market has chosen a direction with the volume, with your correlating pairs, all that kind of stuff. So our goal at this point here is just waiting to get in with a good risk reward. That's all. So this might be asking a little bit too much, but you can still do this as well. Both are acceptable as long as you have volume behind you.
It's maybe a good opportunity if that does happen is to scale in.
Maybe, yeah. So if you get in with smaller size here, then yeah, you can add a little bit more if you start with small size, right?
So with that Euro Aussie, how it was coming back after that candle closed on the 5, would that be right around this time be a potential pretty good entry?
You can, but you just have to make sure your stops are wide enough in this case.
Yeah.
Because if this is a C type, then there is still a possibility where we can retest this.
Gotcha.
But the whole goal is for this to not make any more lower lows, because that's our assumption right now, that it shouldn't make any more lower lows. Be below this.
Okay. So yeah, and that's something you got to think about too, is that it just made a trap or type to a B, and how it worked it potentially turn back to. Okay, yeah, I didn't think of that logic. But yeah, that's okay.
Yeah. So yeah, it's again same thing. Just we're just using what we've learned about traps and where price can retest to, and based on that, if you want to get in here. But whatever the case is, stops are below here because we're assuming that this is the last guy and he's killed.
Okay. So it might be just taking a test off of just trying to get in right here off of this guy. Might not be the best, possibly because it could try to react here.
Could.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. Then you take a chance of possibly missing it, but you're safer.
Yep. That's the part where you have to juggle with, I guess.
Okay.
So in this case, we can actually, if we would like to wait for the C price, we can just put limit order in here. Then when it hits, just fulfill.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
You don't have to. Yeah. Thank you.
So it's sort of like yep, I want the C price.
Yeah.
But then there's C price will obviously give me the best risk reward, but there's also a possibility where it's not gonna come back. Then that's where the fun in trading is. All right. I guess I'll leave it here. We can watch this pair on your own.
The British pound Aussie actually is going at the moment. That was another pair I was looking at. I just would like to confirm with you, Lucas, if I am in the trade, where could my take profit be? At this moment, I'm thinking about somewhere here. Would it be too much, or I should be aiming for this area really?
I think it will get up towards here, and then maybe spike up a little bit towards this kind of zone. Maybe.
Right. Yeah, but that would be a little bit too much.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No, this looks a lot stronger, right?
Yeah, actually, that was a better pair. I was like kind of looking at over Euro New Zealand, because this one is for also follow the trend. At the moment, it's uptrend, and
Yeah. So in this particular case, then usually I'll just get in here.
Right.
Is it enough? Yeah, I guess it's okay.
About 1 hour.
Yeah, it's
About
fine.
1 hour. But the spread is like
2
pips. Then it's less than 1 hour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By the time you get in, would be here.
Yeah. So what is the spread there?
Yeah, and then
Thank you. Yeah. Well, it's a tough one. Thank you.
No worries. All right, cool. Do your post analysis on the weekend. We can talk about the pairs on Monday.
Sure.
Cool. Have a great weekend.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
All right. Bye-bye. See you guys.
Bye.